everyone. This is Anna with Resound School of Music in Surrey, British Columbia, and we're going to be talking today about connecting our speaking voice with our singing voice. So a lot of people actually never kind of think of this concept, and for a long time I didn't either. And so there ended up being a really big divide, and I'm actually still working on it, bringing the two together so that there's a more of a continuity between our singing voice and our speaking voice. One of the things that I find really important, I feel really important as an artist, and I also try and teach my students, is that we want to sound like us, right? And so when we're babies, we learn to speak from our parents, and our teachers and our brothers and sisters. We learn to walk, we learn to do everything from other people. So we become really good mimics. So what I find is that people are great mimics when they sing. So if you love Beyonce, then you end up sounding a bit like Beyonce. If you love Leonard Cohen or you know, whoever you're really into, you often will end up sounding a bit like them. Not purposely even, but just because we're really good at it. That's what we're kind of built for. And we also want to just express ourselves as who we are, what we have to say, what we sound like. So my instrument, even though I love Joni Mitchell, who some of you may not even know of, but I love her, but I don't want to sound like her, and my instrument isn't the same as her instrument. So if I'm trying to sound like her, it actually is difficult for my instrument to do the same things. So let's take a song. You can take any song you're working on right now. I just thought I'd take Firework by Katy Perry because that's the song that lots of my students are working on right now. And so I'll just show you a little bit. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit just for the sake of teaching. So, you know, let's say I'm hearing, this doesn't really sound like Katy Perry, but let's pretend I'm going to exaggerate Katy Perry. So. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting in the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Right? Okay, so that's me kind of trying to do something else, trying to be somebody else, right? And so that's maybe kind of fun because it's kind of like you're putting on a costume, like you're putting on a bit of a show. But if you actually just want to try and be authentic, then what I do is I start to kind of take apart the song a little bit, deconstruct the song. So you're taking the first line, and what you do is actually you just take each line and you just say it, and then you sing it just like you said it, which feels really awkward, believe me, at first, but there's something that will happen there. And actually what will start happening is singing will start to be easier. We talk all day long. Everybody talks all day long, right? We're really good at talking. So why we wouldn't use our speaking voice to inform our singing voice, right? So I'll just show you. So like I would sing the first voice if I was trying to kind of be a superstar or whatever. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting in the wind, wanting to start again? Okay, so I'm putting on a little bit of an accent. This is another thing that a lot of people do, I find in my lessons, is they have an accent when they sing, and it's not their accent. It's an American accent, it's, you know, Katy Perry's accent, whatever. So you say, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? That's a funny first line. I always laugh at it. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag? Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting in the wind, wanting to start again? So drifting in the wind, drifting in the wind, wanting to start again. And you say it, you can say each thing over a few times so you get a feeling. It's almost like you have to tune in to the feeling of your speech, and then you translate that feeling in your chest, in your throat, in your head, in your body, and you translate it into your singing. So I'll just demonstrate again. Do you ever feel so paper thin? And you kind of say it like a poem. Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel? So you're kind of getting the idea. So what you have to do is just kind of take line by line. Now, what's really interesting with this is once you start getting a little bit higher, so lots of people have, I did too when I was first learning, is have difficulty with what we call the break, which actually I don't really like that word, but the transition between your chest voice and your head voice, right? So that kind of middle section where you go up into the top. What I find with this speech singing is that if you use this kind of front forward kind of sound of your speaking voice and translate it into your singing voice, that transition in your voice can sometimes kind of disappear. So you have the feeling of almost one voice, like there's no difference between the top and the bottom. So I'll take that, the third verse, just as an example of that. So, do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under, scream, but no one seems to hear a thing? Do you ever feel already buried deep? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under, screaming, no one seems to hear a thing? So the kind of more relaxed I am, and the more I'm feeling like, oh, I'm just talking, I'm not singing and putting on a show, the more relaxed we are, and the more we can just let our natural sound come out, which is what everybody wants, I think.